Have you ever wondered what it really feels like to move into a nursing home? Not from the brochures, but from the heart of someone who actually did it and now quietly regrets it? On paper, it can sound simple: help with meals, medications, safety, and people around so you're not alone. But many older adults who finally sign the papers and move in discover a very different reality, one filled with hard truths they never fully understood until it was too late. If you're thinking about moving into a nursing home, or you love someone who might have to make that choice, you may already feel torn. Part of you wants safety and support. Another part of you is afraid of losing your independence, your privacy, and even your sense of who you are. You might be hearing, "It's for the best," from doctors or family. But inside, you're asking, will I still feel like me there? You are not alone in this. Many older adults who move into nursing homes later confess quietly, "I wish I had understood what this would really be like." Some regret how fast the decision was made. Others regret what they gave up, what they weren't prepared for, and how much the move changed their relationships, their daily life, and their sense of dignity. What's interesting is that the truth is rarely all good or all bad. Nursing homes can provide real help and safety, but there are hard truths that are almost never printed in the pamphlets, and you deserve to know them before you make any decision. In this video, we're going to talk about 7 hard truths from the perspective of someone who regrets moving into a nursing home. Truths about independence, routines, family visits, emotional struggles, and the subtle ways your life can change once you hand over your keys. By the end of this video, you'll understand what many residents wish they had known before moving in, so you can ask better questions, explore other options, and make a choice that truly respects your needs, your safety, and your dignity. And stay with me until the very end, because the 7th hard truth we'll talk about isn't about the building or the staff at all. It's about a painful realization many older adults have about themselves only after the move has already been made. Now, let's get started. Number 1, you don't just move buildings. You surrender control of your daily life. Before you move into a nursing home, it's easy to focus on the big picture. You'll have help with bathing, meals, medications, and emergencies. That all sounds reasonable, even comforting. But what many people don't realize until after they've signed the papers is how much of their daily control quietly slips away. At home, you decide when to wake up, when to eat, when to shower, and when to go outside. You can have a late breakfast if you feel like it. You can stay in your pajamas until noon or eat dinner at 9 p.m. if that's your habit. In a nursing home, even the best ones, there is a schedule. Meals are served at certain times. Medications are passed at certain times. Baths, activities, and lights out are all shaped around staff routines, not your lifelong preferences. For some people, that trade feels worth it. For others, it feels like giving away the steering wheel of their life. Imagine waking up one morning and being told, "It's shower day," when you don't feel like showering, or having someone knock and come in to change your clothes while you're still waking up. Imagine wanting a cup of tea at 10 p.m. but the kitchen is already closed, or needing help to get a snack when you once could just walk to your own refrigerator. At first, you might think, "It's no big deal, I'll adjust." But over time, these little losses of control can add up to a heavy sense of regret. You realize it's not just where you live that changed, it's who decides how you live. Ask yourself, how important is it to me to choose my own routine, even in the small things, and am I ready to hand that over to other people's schedules? Number 2, your room isn't truly yours, and privacy becomes a luxury, not a guarantee. When you hear nursing home, you might picture a private room that feels like a small apartment. In reality, many residents share rooms or live in spaces that are closer to hospital rooms than cozy bedrooms. Even if you bring familiar photos, blankets, or a favorite chair, you're still living in a place where staff can walk in at any time, where curtains and thin walls take the place of locked doors, and where someone else may be snoring, coughing, or watching TV just a few feet away. For some, this loss of privacy becomes one of the deepest regrets. You may need help with very intimate things, bathing, dressing, toileting. That can be uncomfortable enough. But when you realize there are constant interruptions, vital sign checks, roommates, visitors, staff coming in and out, you may feel like you no longer have a place in the world that truly belongs to you. Imagine wanting a quiet afternoon to read, but your roommate's television is blaring. Imagine wanting to cry in peace, but people keep coming in to ask questions, take blood pressure, or clean the room. Even in a private room, the feeling of "this is my castle" is hard to recreate. The hallways, alarms, voices, and routine checks all remind you that you are living inside a system, not your own home. For some residents, this constant exposure slowly wears down their sense of dignity. They miss closing their own front door, sitting in their own bathroom, or walking around in clothes of their choosing without worrying about who might walk in. Ask yourself, how will I feel knowing that privacy is something I have to request, not something I can simply assume? Number 3, your family's relationship with you changes in ways you may not expect. Before moving into a nursing home, many older adults imagine family will come often. They picture grandchildren sitting on the bed, children visiting in the evenings, and constant company to make up for leaving their old home. Sometimes that happens. But often, reality is more complicated. Life is busy. Kids have jobs, their own families, and their own struggles. At first, visits may be frequent and emotional. Over time, they can become shorter, more scheduled, or less personal. Instead of dropping by your kitchen for a cup of coffee, your loved ones now have to sign in, pass a front desk, and fit their visits into visiting hours or their own packed schedules. For some residents, this shift feels like going from being the center of a family home to being a stop on the way between other obligations. It doesn't always mean your family loves you less. It means the way they experience you has changed. They see you in a bed or a chair instead of in your favorite spot at home. Conversations can feel rushed, awkward, or overshadowed by medical updates and paperwork. You might find yourself waiting for visits that get postponed, or watching other residents' families come and go while you sit alone. Many people who move into nursing homes later say, "I wish I had understood how different my relationships would feel once I wasn't the one hosting anymore." You lose not only the house, but also the role, the host, the elder at the head of the table, the one people come home to. Ask yourself, am I prepared for my family visits to change, not just in how often they come, but in how it feels when they do? If you're still listening, comment the number 3 below so we know you're here. And if these conversations matter to you, consider subscribing. Your support helps us keep creating videos like this for older adults and their families. Now, let's move forward. Number 4, staff can be kind. But they are busy, and you are one of many. This is one of the hardest truths to face. Many nursing homes have caring, hard-working staff members who genuinely want to help. But they are often stretched thin, responsible for many residents at once, and working under strict schedules. Before you move in, you might imagine having people around who can sit and talk, listen to your stories, or comfort you when you're lonely. Sometimes that happens. But often, the reality is quick in and out visits, brief check-ins, rushed assistance with dressing or toileting, and a constant sense that you don't want to bother them. You might press your call button and wait. Sometimes help comes quickly. Other times you wait longer than you'd like, especially during busy hours or at night. You may learn to hold your needs because you see how tired the aides look, or how quickly they move from room to room. Over time, some residents begin to feel like tasks on a list instead of people with full lives and complex emotions. Not because staff don't care, but because the system gives them too much to do. This can lead to a quiet regret. I traded my independence at home for more care, but I didn't realize how rushed and limited that care would sometimes feel. You may miss the feeling of being known, really known, by someone who has time to sit, listen, and understand your history. Ask yourself, am I ready for a world where the people helping me may care about me, but rarely have the time to truly sit with me? Number 5, you lose the small freedoms that made you feel like yourself. For many older adults, the regret isn't only about big things like money or medical care, it's about the small freedoms they didn't realize meant so much. At home, you might choose your favorite mug, open a window when you like, sit outside when the weather is beautiful, or play your favorite music as loud or as soft as you want. You can rummage through your own kitchen, decide to stay up late working on a puzzle, or take a slow walk through your neighborhood whenever you feel like it. In a nursing home, many of those freedoms are restricted for safety or practicality. You may not be allowed to go outside alone. You may have to ask for help to leave your room. Windows may not open fully. You might be told what you can and can't keep in your room. Even simple things like choosing your own snacks, making your own cup of tea, or showering at odd hours can be limited by rules. At first, these rules might seem reasonable. But over time, they can chip away at your sense of self. You might start to feel more like a patient than a person. You may catch yourself thinking, I used to be someone who could decide what to do with my day. Now I'm someone who waits to be told what's next. This feeling can be especially painful for people who were very independent, who prided themselves on making their own choices. Ask yourself, which small freedoms do I rely on now to feel like myself, And how would I feel if those were suddenly controlled by someone else's rules? Number 6, the emotional weight of this might be my last stop can be heavier than you expect. Few people talk openly about this, but many residents feel it deeply. Moving into a nursing home often comes with the quiet realization that this may be the last place you ever live. At home, even with health problems, there's usually some sense of movement, seasons changing in your yard, neighbors coming and going, errands to run, and rooms you've furnished and lived in for years. In a nursing home, life can feel more static. The hallways, the dining room, the activity schedule, they repeat. Residents come and go. Some pass away. You may attend more funerals or see more empty beds than you expected. That can do something to your spirit. It can make you feel like you are living in a waiting room rather than a home. Even if you are grateful for the safety and care, there can be a deep ache of regret. Did I move here too soon? Did I give up on my own home and my own life before I had to? Some people describe it as feeling like a chapter has closed, not because they chose it, but because it was chosen for them. The sense of finality can be heavy, especially at night or on quiet weekends when fewer visitors come. Ask yourself, am I prepared for how it might feel, emotionally, to live in a place that quietly reminds me, every day, that this might be where my story ends? Number 7, you realize too late that you had more options than you thought. This last truth is one of the most painful sources of regret. Many older adults move into nursing homes during a crisis, a fall, a hospital visit, a sudden illness. Decisions get made quickly. Papers get signed. Everyone is focused on safety, we just need to make sure you're taken care of. Later, when the dust settles, some residents start to ask hard questions. Could I have stayed home with more help? Were there other living arrangements we never explored? Did we rush into this without really looking at all the options? They learn, sometimes too late, about possibilities like in-home care, adult day programs, assisted living, or moving in with family with extra support. They wish they had asked more questions, taken more time, or spoken up more strongly about what they wanted. This doesn't mean nursing homes are always the wrong choice. For some people, they truly are the safest and best option. But the regret comes from feeling pushed rather than partnered in the decision. It comes from realizing that fear, urgency, or pressure from others may have drowned out their own voice. If you're watching this before making a decision, you are in a powerful position. You can learn from those regrets. You can ask, what would it take for me to stay at home safely? Is there a middle ground between living alone and a full nursing home? What do I truly want, and who can help me explore that honestly? Ask yourself, when it comes to where I live at the end of my life, do I want to look back and say, I had no choice, or I made the best choice I could with my eyes open? Final thoughts. We've talked about 7 hard truths many people only discover after moving into a nursing home. You don't just move buildings, you surrender control of your daily life. Your room isn't truly yours, and privacy becomes a luxury. Your family's relationship with you changes in ways you may not expect. Staff can be kind, but they are busy, and you are one of many. You lose the small freedoms that made you feel like yourself. The emotional weight of this might be my last stop can be heavier than you expect. You realize too late that you had more options than you thought. If these truths felt heavy, that's because they are. For many older adults, moving into a nursing home is not just a practical decision, it's an emotional earthquake. It touches every part of life, your routines, your privacy, your role in the family, your sense of self, and even how you think about your remaining years. But here's the important part, hearing these truths now gives you power. Power to ask better questions. Power to speak up about what you want. Power to explore other options before you feel pushed into a decision you might regret. Nursing homes are not bad by definition. They can provide real safety, medical support, and relief for families who are overwhelmed. For some people, they truly are the best and safest place to be. The regret often doesn't come from the building itself, it comes from feeling unprepared, unheard, or rushed. Your life, your home, and your dignity matter. You deserve the chance to say, this is what I want, and to understand clearly what that choice will feel like day after day, not just in the first week, but 6 months, a year, or 3 years down the road. So ask yourself, where do I truly want to live as I grow older, and what would it take to make that possible safely? And just as important, who can I sit down with now, family, friends, doctors, or care workers, to talk honestly about my fears, my wishes, and all the options available? You may not be able to control everything that happens in the future. But you can do everything in your power to make your next decision with your eyes open and your voice heard. Thank you for joining us today and for having the courage to think about a topic many people avoid. In the comments below, share one hard truth from this video that surprised you and how you plan to use this information in your own life or for someone you love. Your insight might help another family pause, think, and choose more carefully. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and share it with a friend or family member who is talking about nursing homes or long-term care. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire older adults and their families. Thank you for watching, take good care of yourself and your choices, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.